Well, user-generated content such as that is superb because it's the very best that's available, because it's been judged, it's been selected, and so forth. There's user-generated content which is pretty awful. In fact, there's been some promotions by various suppliers of product to increase the use of their product, and one was Hershey's gum. There was a promotion done about 2 years ago now, where what happened was that they would put in a code in the wrapper of the gum, and you could enter the code on their website, and if the code was a winner, 1 in 3 was a winner. If the code was a winner, then you were invited free of charge to karaoke to whatever song. I think there were 10 songs, 10 tunes you could choose. And then when you were happy with that, you could download that as an answer tone or a ringtone on your cell phone. Well, I've listened to some of those karaokes, and some of them were awful because, I mean, they pleased the people who did it, but they wouldn't please anyone else. It actually was a very good promotion, and it did benefit Hershey. Again, coming back to the notion of multiple stimuli and the use of multiple resources. And, there's a time and a place for almost everything in this world. What is important is that people do like quality. And, you find this, for example, from food in restaurants to music, to videos and so forth. If the quality is not there, if there's something not really quite good about it, then, people don't want it at any price. And, even a hot dog off the street has to have a quality, otherwise people will not go back. And that particular food vendor will not succeed. And the same is true in the media. And so I think content that's created by the user has to have a certain quality. Otherwise, it will not be used. And we see this, of course, on the TV channels who are inviting people to text in or to send in videos and so forth. They will use it, but they will not use everyone's content. They'll only use the content that is interesting, is engaging, captures people's imagination, and that implies a certain quality and a certain capability by the creator of the content. So I would say if one is an entrepreneur in the media industry today, one needs to try and use all possible sources, but always vet it for quality. It is a good tool. It's being used more and more. It's a good medium for assessing whether people are using or engaging with the commercials that are being presented, because you can tell whether people are actually opening it or watching the video or coming back to it and so forth. What is interesting is the rise of media on the handheld device, on the smartphone. That is increasing substantially. And again, the reason is it's an intimate device. It's with you all the time. It's something that you develop a relationship with, which is an interesting facet of the 21st century, something we've not really seen before. In older technologies, you couldn't really throw your arms around your TV set. It didn't make any sense. But you see people cradling the smartphone in their hands. And therefore the rise of commercials and advertising on the cell phone is very significant. And it was thought for a while that only short videos or adverts and so forth would work on the small screen on the handheld device. But actually what's happening is these things are getting longer and longer. If they're the right quality, and if they are engaging enough, if they're creative enough. So I think the challenge for the media is not so much which medium to choose. I think one should use all the media that are available for a particular task. But the challenge is to be creative. And so this quality aspect is very much a challenge for people in the media, not just for people who are on the consuming end. It's just how creative are you really? Can you rise to the challenge of using these powerful new media? Because it requires some very innovative thinking to be successful. I think that the main vehicle that we are going to see is the handheld device, and reaching people through that, and they then in turn reaching back and massaging the media. So the medium is the massage, but also it's now the self-sumer is the massage going back. It's a two-way street. I think that is the huge opportunity of the next 5 years, really realizing that the self-sumer is a new kind of sophisticated user of the internet and of mobile devices, and the revenues in the media, I think, will come more and more from understanding the self-sumer and serving the self-sumer in interesting ways, in a mobile way and also in a desktop way. I mean, the laptop and the desktop and the interactive TV and the newspapers and magazines, these are all, and the movies and 3D movies, which we haven't talked too much about, but the rise of 3D movies is an interesting one. The glasses which you now put on when you go to these movies are very comfortable and quite good quality, whereas 40 years ago when 3D movies started, they were just sort of cardboard plastic things and they fell off your nose and the image wasn't very good. That's all changed now. So all those media are dramatically important. I think a very interesting example of what is happening in cinema technologies has been recently, the last few years actually, in Toronto with the Metropolitan Opera House in New York, projecting live in movie theatres, in cinemas in Toronto, for example, live opera. And I've been to many of these where it's live and it's in high definition, and it's as good, almost better, than being at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York, because during the intervals they take you backstage and interview the performers and the producers of the operas, so you get an insight into opera which was not available ever before. And it's not quite interactive because the audience isn't interacting yet, not asking questions yet, but it may happen that way in the future. But being almost live at the Met is an example of how cinema has changed and has now become integrated into live performances in, again, very high quality performances in the traditional centres such as the Metropolitan Opera House.